In chapter 19, Jesus arrives at Jericho, and a short man named Zacchaeus climbs up a sycamore fig tree so that he might be able to see Jesus because of the large crowd. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up into the branches, addressed Zacchaeus by name, and told him to come down, for he intended to visit his house. The crowd was shocked that Jesus, a Jew, would sully himself by being a guest of a tax collector. Moved by the audacity of Jesus' undeserved love and acceptance, Zacchaeus publicly repented of his acts of corruption and vowed to make restitution for them, and held a feast at his house. We then hear the parable of the Minas, which tells of a prince who was leaving his home to be appointed king, and before going entrusted his property, 10 minas, to his 10 servants. But his subjects hated him and sent a delegation after him to protest his being made king. After having been made king and returning home, the master asks his servants for an accounting. The first 2 servants explain that they have each put their money to work and have multiplied the value of the property they were entrusted with, and so they are each rewarded. Another servant, however, has merely hidden his mina in a cloth somewhere, and he is punished. The master takes his mina back and gives it to the first guy who had multiplied the value of his mina by 10. The others protest, saying this isn't fair because he already has 10 and doesn't need an 11th. But the master says, "I tell you that to everyone who has, more will be given, but as for the one who has nothing, even what they have will be taken away." Then he makes an example of the people who had protested his kingship and has them dragged in and killed. This parable mirrored actual events that occurred during the reign of Herod Archelaus. While he visited Rome in an attempt to gain more power in Israel, a group of Jews revolted and sent a delegation to protest Archelaus' reign. When he returned from Rome, Archelaus brutally killed the rebels and their families.